Hi, welcome. Let's understand how it all began. In the 19th century, a French scientist, Hyppolite Léon Denizard Rivail, a very important scholar, researcher, teacher, who is also a great thinker, investigated a very unusual phenomenon at the time that broke all sorts of paradigms. In Paris back then, it was very popular among the high society to present the turning tables to entertain the guests at parties. A friend of Hippolyte told him about this and said that the tables were able to respond to questions, answering yes and no. Hippolyte at first, of course, was very skeptical, since tables did not have brains to think or nervous systems in order to be able to move. They were no more than inanimate objects by nature. So, how come? His friends invited him to one of those parties so that he could see for himself. While he was on his way, he was considering that it could be easily a magic trick of some sort. But that's where the story begins. What Hippolyte was looking at with his own eyes and seemed like a fraud was actually happening. And he had never seen anything like that before. Small tables were moving by themselves on the floor, hitting the ceiling, turning around, moving upside down in the air, vertically, horizontally. But the most intriguing was that they were responding to questions. One stroke meant yes, and two meant no. Hippolyte was very impressed and came to the conclusion that invisible forms of intelligence had to be responsible for that situation. But how? Of course, some religious people at the time were considering and classifying those things as diabolical. As a scientist, a man with a curious and open mind, he would not accept a religious imposition and just rest the case. He would not set with dogma imposed by religion that did not make any sense to his restless mind. He must understand and find out what was happening. What was the reason behind that? Why was that happening? But at most, how did it work? Was there an ultimate motive for that to be happening? So he started to deepen his knowledge into that matter using the scientific method: observation, question, analysis, and conclusion. The investigation took almost 3 years of hard work, and after a lot of research, he finally published all the content. During this period, the form of communication changed. Table practice was abandoned, and the messages started coming from psychography. This allowed communication to be more agile and clear. Some very well-known and respected characters also participated and followed up on the experiments. Victor Hugo, William Crookes, Camille Flammarion, and later Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, among others. We invite you to follow us up every week to engage in this amazing journey through what Hippolyte has discovered, how these phenomena happened, what was the purpose of these happenings, the moral and intellectual consequences. On our next study, we will continue from where we left off, and I will see you then.